Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my Stradivarius Cornet. It's a vintage 1985. I purchased it a week ago on eBay. They normally go about $3,200 new. I paid $1,100 for this, $11.99, excuse me, so $1,200 plus shipping and handling, and I really like it. It's not perfect because it has a few dings in it. I don't know if you can see. One of them is here, and the finish is probably 95-98%, so it's in really nice shape. The bell at one time was damaged. You can see a little bit there. It was repaired, probably not the best repair in the world. I didn't do anything to it other than put on some new spit corks, and I did not use the mouthpiece that came with it. I typically use a Yamaha 11C3. In this particular case, I have my long shank 11C3. I also have a short 11C3 for my older cornets. I do prefer older cornets because they're a little bit sweeter, especially the early cons, 1900 to 1920, and I have a 1936A Concert Grand, which is very, very good. This one, I initially didn't like it a whole lot, but the more I play it, the more I really like it. I play in Masonic Village Encore Band. I used it last night, and it really, really plays well in a band. It really projects really well, so that's the neat thing about it. Again, the model number is 184G. G means that it has gold brass on the bell, which is supposed to give it a sweeter sound. So the slides are, of course, all pull well, and it's been completely cleaned. It does have a first slide trigger, and in this particular horn, it's kneaded at the F on the upper part of the staff. It needs it on the D below the staff, the C sharp, and the A sharp, probably the F sharp also. Anything that involves the first finger below the staff, and anything that involves the first finger at F on the upper part of the staff, and even above, like high B flat, and then of course all of the C's, which can be, some of them can be played with the first finger. They're needing the trigger also. You can see, to get it to tune to concert B flat, the tuning slide needs to be pulled out fairly far, which is kind of surprising. And actually using the trigger only gets you about maybe 3 cents or so on the lower notes, in terms of making them a little bit flatter. So as far as the third finger, it's not really necessary. It does pull. It would be very difficult to use it, to pull it on the fly as you're playing. This trigger is pretty easy to work, and that works pretty well. I like it better than the old Strads, or the Strad trumpets, which have kind of a fork. I like this much better because it's spring return. The disadvantage of it, though, is you can't set it unless you disconnect the linkage, and I may do that at some point in time when I get it tuned out a little bit better. The valves in this thing are like brand new, so they're really good valves. I may just elect, for the heck of it, to put a pad in the valves up here, an extra pad. And actually, I never even checked the alignment yet, but if the alignment is pretty good, then probably what I'll do may put another pad in there which will pull the fingers down a little bit. It'll intentionally misalign all the valves, and it'll produce a darker sound. Not even sure even though I like my old cornets that are very dark, I'm not even sure I want this to play darker. If I need a horn to play darker, I'll just grab one of my older horns. But this is probably going to be my steady horn from now on. No reason not to. I've never played a really, really expensive, quote, expensive horn like this Strad. The closest I've come is a 1999 Capri. I owned that for a short period of time, and I just didn't care for it, so I actually wound up giving it away to a student that just loves it. My understanding is that she loves it. Before I switched to cornets, I actually had a couple trumpets. Didn't care for them at all, but I did have a Stradivarius trumpet, and I had an Eterna Getzen trumpet, and those are really at the top of the line, so if I didn't like them, I'll never like any trumpet. I haven't played a Neo. A Yamaha Neo is supposedly comparable to this, and the Neo apparently has probably a gold brass bell also, so it's a little bit more mellow, but I understand all in all that the Bach is a little bit more sweet and mellow, so I'll just put out a few bars on it, and then probably what I'll do is I'll play one of the songs I normally play with my other cornet, and you can get to see or hear the difference if it matters. But anyway, you know, it does help if you align the valve correctly when you put it back on. I believe I got it now. Might sound a little better this time. I'll play a D, a low D, and then I'll then I'll press the trigger on. You'll be able to see the difference. You can see it's not much. It's just a few cents worth of frequency there, so not a big difference. Almost not really worth bothering with. It does tune pretty well to most of the other notes. I could probably improve a little bit by pulling the third slide out maybe a quarter of an inch or so. That might help it, and again possibly split the difference by pulling the first slide out maybe another quarter of an inch or so. That way the concert B flat might be a little flat, but the other lower notes would be a little bit more right on. But then of course you have the problem of playing the concert A sharp, which would be then a little too flat. So I mean, it's not that important for the little band that I'm in. So again, the other thing I did is anytime I get a new or a used horn, I put in new springs, and I always use the Yamaha springs because they're a little bit weaker, and if the valves are good enough shape that the action is good enough, then I'll keep them in. In this particular one, I was able to use the Yamaha in the first and third valves, but the second was just a little bit slow in coming up, and or I'd have to oil it a little more frequently. So I left the original box spring in there, and the first and third valve have the Yamaha. Well, that's about it. I'll play a song a little bit later. I didn't want to play the song right after I talked here, because if I'd screw it up, then I wasted all this time. So, well, you guys have a good day.